In the picturesque countryside of South Korea, a chilling mystery has haunted a small village for decades, the unsolved case of the Frog Boys. Our story begins on a seemingly ordinary day. 5 boys, known as the Frog Boys for their love of exploring nature, ventured into the nearby mountains for a day of adventure. However, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the boys failed to return home. Panic and worry set in as the village realized their children were gone. As news of the disappearance spread, the village rallied together, and the authorities initiated a massive search operation. Despite extensive efforts, no trace of the Frog Boys was found. Millions of flyers were generated and a reward was offered to anyone who could lead law enforcement to the lost children. In addition, milk cartons, billboards, phone cards, candy wrappers, cartoons and newspapers all had the boys' pictures printed with the name the Frog Boys as they would become to be known by. The name evolved as their story began to pick up traction. The boys were searching for salamander eggs, which lead to frog eggs. The eggs were dropped and the 5 victims were simply K. Weeks would turn into months, months into years, and authorities were in the exact same spot as the day the boys disappeared. No new leads despite the families doing a tremendous job of keeping the case alive. Movies and TV documentaries were filmed and would be watched by millions. Again the case stood at a standstill. Police would receive hundreds of tips but all lead to nowhere. The only truly intriguing tip was by a man who claimed responsibility for the crime. He had claimed to have abducted the children and that they were alive but not well. He was hoping to con the families out of money, but he was soon discovered to be a fraud. Not much else is known about the fraudulent tipster, but he too was ruled out of the investigation. Back to 2002, when the bodies were discovered, investigators initially claimed the boys had died of hypothermia. Many who followed the case refused to believe this and insisted on an independent autopsy. After the second investigation, it was concluded that the boys had indeed been murdered, many of whom suffered severe head injuries either from blunt force trauma or from shotgun. One of the child's skulls had 2 bullet holes in it. The others had markings from an unknown tool etched in various parts of their skulls. Experts also believe the tool used to bludgeon the children with were tied to the killer's profession. Despite some evidence being discovered at the scene, heavy criticism fell upon the police for not maintaining the area properly, opting to plow through the ground with pickaxes the day the bodies were found, without proper forensic tools present. It was also alleged that the bodies were not transported properly from the scene using body bags but instead were placed in sacks. Multiple theories have cropped up over the years, some more plausible than others. Some locals think that a group of lepers may have killed the boys due to a legend that the liver of a child could cure the illness. Others believe that a tragic accident could be the cause of all this, followed quickly by an elaborate cover-up. There was a military firing range in close proximity to the shallow grave. Multiple theories have cropped up over the years, some more plausible than others. Some locals think that a group of lepers may have killed the boys due to a legend that the liver of a child could cure the illness. Others believe that a tragic accident could be the cause of all this, followed quickly by an elaborate cover-up. There was a military firing range in close proximity to the shallow grave. Could someone have snuck onto the range and used it without the proper permission? More evidence pointing towards the firing range accident is the fact that the mountain was littered with bullet casings and oftentimes, locals would search the area for strays. In 1994, the range moved to a different town. Another theory was brought forward by a Korean criminal psychologist, Kim Kim-won. His claim was the father of one of the murdered boys was the culprit, but this was widely dismissed by authorities and the public. He would be subsequently shunned by the psychological community and fired from his job for such claims. No evidence has ever been found to link any of the parents to the murder of these children. In 2006, the statute of limitations were met on the case. In South Korea, the statute for all crimes was 15 years. Much hope was dashed by the victims' families of ever receiving justice, however this was changed in 2015, meaning that if new evidence were to come to light, those responsible for the crime could be charged.